Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I just wanted to come with you with this video real quick because I remember I was following this trial during the Carmelo Anthony trial with the McClef boy. And I really didn't want to touch this Carmelo stuff anymore because it just gets emotions high because there's some things we just got to move on to talk about. But I still wanted to know what was going to be the sentence for the stabbing of Joe Ramirez. And they gave him 10 years. They gave him 10 years. And I did say in my video with Carmelo Anthony, they're going to give him time. One thing they have not shown to us, just like they haven't shown to us when this trial was going on, one of the things they did not show to us is the video. And we did not get, the public did not get to see the video of the stabbing with Joe Ramirez and the way Caysen Allison butchered Joe Ramirez. I mean, he stabbed him like 4 times, and one of the wounds was like a gaping wound where he just took the knife and really dug it in and whatever. But we didn't even get to hear the trial. I mean, they did do like tell us about the trial, like what went on in the courthouse and everything, but actually it being on court TV to hear the witnesses and to hear the trial and everything, we probably won't hear that until like all the tension of the people go down. But this the trial with Joe Ramirez, because they didn't, I don't know if they let cameras in the courtroom or anything of that nature, but just to hear the details of what happened from what took place in that trial and what the witnesses all said, I knew they was going to give this young man, Joe Ramirez, some type of justice. You know what I'm saying? And 10 years can't, it may, be shorter than that depending on how he gets through the process of while he's in jail. He doesn't get into too much trouble or anything of that nature. If he doesn't have any outbursts, fights, whatever, they might give him some, they might take some of his time off of him. But here I'm going to show you this video, okay, that I was able to research. It says, "You got 10 years, I got life without my son, Joe Ramirez. Mom confronts Caysen Allison. Allison received maximum prison sentence in killing a fellow Belton High schoolmate. Bell County, Texas. Vengeance isn't mine, it's God's. That's what the mother of Belton High School student who was fatally stabbed on campus in 2022 said in court on Monday as the young man convicted in her son's killing learned his punishment. Judge Wade Faulkner on June 23rd sentenced Caysen 21 to 10 years in prison, the maximum sentence in the fatal stabbing of Joe Ramirez. Allison was found not guilty of murder on April 29th after a more than 2-week trial. The jury found him guilty on a lesser charge of criminal negligence homicide, which significantly reduced the time Allison would serve, ranging from probation to 2 years in jail. In a May 27 ruling, the judge added a deadly weapon enhancement to the conviction, which ruled out probation and solidified Allison's fate as a prisoner, upping his possible sentence from 2 to 10 years. Ramirez's family filled the right side of the courtroom and Allison the left to hear the final testimonies as the state and defense plead to the judge, and they consider justice in this case. Allison's attorney pleading for the maximum and the state demanded the max. 9 witnesses who testified during trial were called back to the stand during final testimonies that included 3 members of Joe Ramirez's family, 3 Belton High staff members, Allison's counselor, and Allison's parents. Virginia Cox was called to the stand first by the state nurse on staff in 2022 who treated Ramirez after he collapsed. Cox explained to the judge and court that she laid awake at night for weeks replaying the scene in her head and telling herself, "We did the best we could," adding that the incident changed her feelings about going to work, made her more aware and less naive. In cross examination, the defense questioned Cox about her previous knowledge of Allison as a student. She said she did not know him or know the name until after this happened. Next to the stand was Willie Ward, a retired law enforcement officer and a teacher at the time of the incident. The state asked Ward how many murders he worked in his career. Ward replied with anywhere from 30, 50, 35 to 55. The defense objected, claiming that his murder case experience it is not relevant as Allison wasn't found guilty to murder. The judge overruled the objection. Ward continued in saying, out of his experience, this case hit him the hardest because Ramirez was in the arms while struggling to survive a first for Ward. Ward wasn't an officer at the time. He was a teacher who found himself in the hallway where Ramirez collapsed. Ward explained that he couldn't sleep for days after, and it brought back his PTSD from serving in Afghanistan. He added that it took 3 months before he could sleep for more than 3 hours at night. The defense cross examination included questions to him about if he has sought therapy since the incident. Ward said he has, and they asked what security enhancements have been made to ensure no other student has a knife on them. Ward said he was unaware of security changes that have been made to the school since 2022. Next, the state called Katherine Johnson, another former teacher. Her statement on the impact of this incident are similar to Ward and Cox, saying she faces PTSD and stays home a lot more now. She then told the court and judge that she retired after 9 years of teaching because of what happened. The defense counsel also asking her about the help she has sought since. Johnson explained that she has been in therapy ever since the incident. Next, the state called Nick. Oh God, it's so much to read here, y'all. But I'm gonna try to do as much as I can. The defense counsel also asked her about the help that she has sought, and she said the next the state called Nikki Roberts, Joe Ramirez, aunt, to the stand. She was visibly emotional before a question was even asked. She described Ramirez as a good kid who was loyal and caring. She described how close their family is and how a void now permanently exists anytime they get together. Robert sobbed, trying to explain what this has done to her sister. Ramirez's mom and his sister, and what it has been trying to watch them cope with this loss. Before cross examination, Roberts expressed how they feel they aren't getting justice, but the max sentence is deserved. During cross examination, Allison's attorney asked Robert if Ramirez was known to be a bully, and she said he wasn't. In her testimony, she calls Allison a murderer, and the defense objected because of the jury finding Allison not guilty for murder. Brought up in court by the defense on a few occasions was were Joe Ramirez's father is it was revealed by family that they last knew of him being in prison, but they don't keep contact with him. The defense used his argument in conjunction with threats they say Allison has received about what will happen to him in prison. The defense saying the defense is concerned a hit has been put out on Caysen's already. Next to the stand was Ramirez's sister, Alejandra Ramirez. The state asked her to recall that day in 2022 when she learned her brother was in trouble. She told the court she was at work and when she got a call from her mom's friend and she immediately left work and went to the hospital. She explained her relationship with her brother, saying they were close and talked about everything together. You can tell my mom isn't happy at all, Ramirez said as she explained that she still hears her mom having panic attacks in the middle of the night. The defense also asked her if she knew that Joe liked to fight. She also responded, no. She explained that she doesn't respect the verdict. The defense asked her if she believed in forgiveness, and she said she does. They asked if can forgive Allison, and she says she doesn't know. Joe Ramirez's mom, Amanda Rios, was up next. She described her son as the other family member did, kind, caring, and loving. Since 2022, his sister have had kids, and Rios cried out over the fact that Ramirez will never know them. In cross examination, the defense asked her about seeking help in the aftermath. Rios explained that she has been in therapy, but nothing will ever make that better. He will get out and get to live his life. My son never will, she cried. The defense continued to double down that Ramirez was known to be a bully, and Rios explained that isn't true. She defended the accusations by explaining that Ramirez wasn't scared to fight, but he didn't want to fight, and he would never bring a weapon to one. The defense followed on asking about Ramirez's history of having his fights recorded. Rios defended those accusations as well by saying that also isn't true. Even further, she questioned the defense about why he keeps bringing up that Ramirez had multiple fights recorded, but not one alleged video was revealed in court or submitted as evidence. Ramirez's father came back into question, but Rhea said she doesn't talk to him and has heard nothing about threats towards Allison. Rhea's explained as well how she doesn't agree with the verdict, to which the defense replied, you know, Caysen has to live with this too. He has to live with it because of his choices. I didn't make him do it, Rio said, visibly frustrated. The defense also asked about the GoFundMe set up to help the family after Ramirez was killed. The defense claimed at least 50,000 was donated. Rio said the estimate they got was 30,000. Rios explained that the money went to pay for Ramirez's funeral and help the family pay bills and stay afloat as they couldn't work after the tragedy. The defense asked if she brought a car with the money. Rios responded that they didn't, the question clearly offending her. Allison attorney also asked Rios if she could forgive Allison, and Rios said absolutely not. The defense then asked Rios, you're not about justice, you're about revenge. Vengeance isn't mine, it's God's, Rios said. The defense called their witnesses next. The first was Allison's dad, James. The defense asked him how Caysen has changed since the incident. He said that he's more serious. His father explained that he is concerned for his safety in prison. The state didn't cross examine. Terry Oldham, Allison's counselor, testified that in the 3 years since she has watched Allison transform himself, she says she has seen an incredible increase in his ability to accept responsibility, and he has gained a lot of empathy. I don't think prison will benefit cases, Oldman said. The state cross-examined, asking if Allison had ever told her he intended to put Joe in the hospital, and she said he didn't. The final witness, Allison's mom, Denise, she explained that in the last 3 years, Allison's become more serious and subdued. I'm terrified. He's my baby, and I can't protect him in there, Denise said when asked about her son serving prison time. The defense brought up threats that the Allison family has received since the stabbing, saying that they installed a security system and she has dreams about being ambushed. The defense asked her how much time she thinks he should serve. Be merciful, lowest sentence possible. He gave his life to Christ. We got him baptized. He has a plan for prison, books he wants to read. He wants to get out so he can make a positive difference in society, she said. Well, at least she was being, fair. He made a mistake. He killed somebody. He lost control of himself. He stabbed somebody. Don't lie about it. Just live up to it. Take accountability. You know, it was revealed for the first time in our court Monday that Allison is a father to a little girl. His mom stressed how close he is with his daughter and how important it is for him to get home to her. She also expressed her fears for her granddaughter's safety because of the threats they have received. In closing statement, the defense explained that this is Allison's first offense, and because of the threats his legal team says he has received, they worry that the sentence will be a death sentence regardless. I don't think it should be a death sentence. The state stressed that Ramirez didn't have to die and that Ramirez and his family have lost far more than Allison's family. Judge Wade Faulkner then ruled that Allison will serve the maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Loud cheers came from Ramirez's family, and the judge had to remind people in the gallery to not make outbursts of any kind. Rios had the chance to confront Allison in court after the sentencing. The sentence came down. You may have gotten 10 years, but I got life without my son. And that is what I read here in this article. But what I have to say here, kind of like this brings some kind of relief. And it also brings some kind of hope as well for KarmeloAnthony, whichever way it goes down, that they don't be so harsh with the sentencing on him due to the fact that he is young and it's really he's not a criminal like people are saying he is, because he made a foolish choice if he did go to school and intended on stabbing someone or doing a stake or stabbing someone. And of course, now that all I could say things in a lot more better way than I did before, um, because I was so hurt by it all. Because you think of the fact that we didn't see the video. None of us was really there. You heard the testimonies of the family, and the first thing the media did was rush to judgment. They already was criminalizing Carmelo Anthony to the public without even hearing all the facts, all the evidence. And that's what I didn't like. At least let us hear both sides of things. Y'all sat up there and y'all gave this the so-called victim so much credit and was like making him sound like he was this star football player. He was this great kid in school. He did great things. But y'all never gave KarmeloAnthony the same, you know, spot in the light. Like they just automatically went to judgment. Oh, he's a black kid, so automatically his father is not in his life and he's got these anger issues or whatever. Not knowing other things that Carmelo has done as a great student. He was also a great student, an outstanding athlete in school, well known, whatever the situation may be. We should have been able to hear all the facts before we rush the judgment, before we make it a racial thing, because we have seen that things has happened over the years on crime committed, hate crimes that has been committed to innocent black lives, regardless of their social economical status. And that's what the black community was frustrated about, because we have done so many great other things in society, and not every black child that may be growing up in certain places are bad kids or criminals. But like I tell people, when you bring a child into this world, have a plan and make sure you are in the right place with your own life before you make that decision to raise up a child on the right way he or she shall go. But as you look at both of these young men, these teenagers at the time that this crime took place in 2022, when Caysen and Ramirez were fighting, and it escalated up to a fight that became deadly, right? So Caysen had some anger in him. You know, I don't know everything. Everything ain't in this thing, but his parents gave him, the father and the parents said there has been some trouble with him. You know, there has been some trouble with their teenage son. Maybe because of the children growing up today, they go to school and don't never know if they're going to make it out. And as we know, because of our immigration crisis we have in the United States of these Americas, this is a perfect example of what's been happening in the changing of a culture of our children in America that are being in school with some children that come from a different place in the world that have a different mindset. Because I have never went to school and had to deal with this type of the violence and the threats of these young people's lives the way it is in society today. Because this has not been the only school stabbing that has taken place throughout history in America throughout the last decade. Not even the decade since the generation is changing, because we have a lot of things that they have taken out of the schools. They allowed to be out of the schools now. And also what has happened in America for the last 4 years with the illegal crisis. And as you can see, he's a Latino kid. Ramirez is Latino. Okay? And I don't even know if he was illegal, his parents, he's a legal citizen or whatever he is. But his parents speak pretty fluent English, so they probably are, you know, legal citizens and lived in Texas. So when you examine this situation with Caysen Allison, and Caysen Allison is in a city, well, his name right there just tells me he's an American, you know? And Caysen probably was being bullied, was being, jumped in the bathroom or whatever the situation could have been. Like, they were trying to hurt him because maybe Ramirez belonged to some kind of Latino gang. So I don't know if they ever went that far into digging into information about the family and the history of the family or whatever, because those are the things you got to take into consideration. Because there's a lot of things that are going on that we just don't know about. That certain kids got to commit certain types of crime to order to be jumped into a gang, even if it takes murder. So maybe these are the things that maybe young Caysen was afraid of. If you get what I'm saying. Because they, like you said, there's no positive male influence in their life. The mother and the father is not together. The father supposedly be in jail. Ramirez's father. Okay, Ramirez's father is supposedly be incarcerated, if you read the article. So it's all done and over with. There has been some justice. He did get the maximum of 10 years in prison, but he's looking forward to it. He was able to prepare himself. And he said that, he just had a child and everything, his girlfriend. So that gives him some kind of, reason to try to do the right thing while he's there so he can be back on the outside to see his child grow up. And also, he's been interested in reading books to kill time while he's there. And believe it or not, those 10 years will go by so quickly because I can't believe it's been 7 years almost close to Robert Sylvester Kelly's incarceration. I can't believe it's been almost 10. I mean, it's been almost 7 years now. It goes by so quickly. As long as you stay focused and you have you focusing on getting out, you will get out. And prayer and keeping your mind in that place, you will get out of there. So I just wanted to just come and share all of this with you. Just like with KarmeloAnthony, I'll probably come back with something with him later. I didn't want to jump on anybody's channel to discuss it the way they discussing things. I want people to take a look at things like on the flip side of it. You know, that KarmeloAnthony is going to be, okay, charged for the life of this young man that died, Austin Metcalf. And that's why I didn't like people out there talking about let's go out and do this for what's his name was doing, that dude that took that bus from Florida. No, no, no. We ain't gonna do that. Because all you gonna do is open up a hate crime, and it's just gonna get messy and ugly. We're not gonna do this. We gotta find another way to resolve whatever it is that we have as black people in America with our with white people in America and how we see things on the level of crime. What is justice and what is injustice? We need to come to a better understanding because we can't keep this shit going on because we got to live in this country together. Whether you like it or not, you know. And the fact that black people, we going hard to save America as well. We may not be out there on the street, but we making sure that we on these YouTube streets or whatever doing our advocacy and everything else for America. And not only that, we trying to pull as many black people out of their victimhood, their way of thinking in poverty, okay, and educating our people, informing our people so we can all live as better citizens in the United States of America and all get along and keep the peace. So we don't need troublemakers that's going to be in America that want to cause this race war, whatever. Now, as far as for these illegals coming to the United States of America, it's the law that you cannot be here undocumented and force your entrance in here and asking for rights. Okay, you have no rights. Now, this thing taking place in New York City of this mayor winning, I think that's just a way of them trying to antagonize us in a way of putting a Muslim, a socialist, communist, foreigner over the lives of American citizens' life. And actually, the voters that voted for him, the majority was the 18 to 30-year-old votes. They don't know nothing about 9/11 and how some people had to live through that trauma of experience in 9/11. And I was traumatized even though I had went and worked for a Muslim company and everything. Some of the things I had to do what I had to do. I had to work, I had to eat, and some of them were very kind to me, and I'm not going to say that. But when it comes to the government of the United States of America, we can't do that. We can't that nah nah nah. We ain't giving you that opportunity to come in here and invade us and take over our government here the way it has been established in America. America belongs to the citizens born and breeded here, not to people from a foreign place with a foreign culture. And that won't be allowed. Well, maybe they did that in London, but we not London. Okay, London is ruled under a different type of government. You know, they got kings and they got queens that run London. The queen, okay? We not queens here. We are run by a Republican and a democracy where the people get the right to vote who they want as citizens of the United States. And then on top of that, you ain't been here long enough. So whatever, they just wanted Como out, and that's what they went for. They just didn't like Como. So out of the two evils, I guess they wanted to go with this socialist dude and this Muslim dude or whatever, then Como, because they wanted him out. Those liberals of that city wanted him out. So this is only just a primary. But as for going for the general election, the general part of the election, because see, when you are independent, and I believe most black people that are in New York are independent. Okay, people got not nobody want to be a Democrat anymore. Nobody wants to be a Republican. They want something different. They want something totally different from that those two parties. That's the way I'm looking at it, because they probably don't really have nobody that's great in the Republican Party that can run for mayor in New York, and they probably don't have anybody great. They definitely don't have nobody good in New York that's going to be a Democrat. But they went and brought this socialist Democrat in. So what I'm thinking is that New York general election, they not going to be stupid. They not going to allow no socialist, communist, Muslim come into be the mayor. Right now, that's just the way they wanted to just get rid of Como. Okay? That's the way I'm looking at it. Hopefully, that's what I'm saying is true. But anyway, y'all, like I said, I'll come back later. If I get anything, I got to do a little bit more research on Carmelo, and then I will come back. But I just wanted to let y'all know that Joe Ramirez and Caysen Allison was sentenced, and he was, to follow up on him, he was given 10 years in in jail for the murder of Joe Ramirez, and I believe that's fair. 10 years is fair, and he may not even do 10 years. He may not do no more than maybe it might be reduced as he go for parole or whatever. It might be reduced. I don't know. He might not. He might 10 years. He could get reduced down to like 2 years, or maybe even do 2 years and be on probation for the next 7 years or so, or 6, 7 years or whatever. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, y'all, God bless you. I love